wants to lift that trophy this year. He is the reigning champ. He is the undisputed world champ at this point, but oh, it's going to be a rough road ahead of him. There's a lot of good players, and it doesn't start off easy for him, but going to go for a pull first over here, Kev. This is unusual for me, just because I think Clem is one of the less likely players to go for a 2-Rex.
Yeah, and also he always has CV scouts.
Exactly.
I can't remember the last time he 2-Rexed, and I can't remember the last time he didn't SCV scout either. So either Reynor knows something that we don't, or he just wants to kind of throw a bit of a curveball here at Clem. I'm extremely curious what this is going to be, because this is odd.
Yeah, nothing short of odd. I mean, maybe it's like, all right. As you said, a curveball, something a little bit weird to throw your opponent off a little bit. It doesn't put you super behind, but let's say a couple extra drones, which against a player as good as Clem, you don't want to put yourself in that position. Maybe it's also just for setting the pace of the series a little bit, just to let Clem know, hey, buddy, I'm different on LAN. I'll throw anything at you, and I'll get ahead regardless.
Yeah, it is interesting, especially because it is also Berlingrad, and that is a map where every little edge matters. So giving up the little bit of extra droning, slightly less creep perhaps, this can all really matter pretty quickly. Leveraging a lead on this map is very easy for Terran.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those situations where Reynor just wants to reveal 2 Zerglings, and maybe he knows Clem's response with the SCV and stuff to get a later scout, because we saw that come into play with Heroine versus Lambo. He saw the first 2 Lings, and it was like, oh, I'm going to make a bunker immediately. I think it happened on Curious Minds, and it did throw a Hero Marine off just a smidge, but here, sees the hatchery anyway, and it's like, oh, you went for a pull first, does grenade himself a little bit, but gets the full scout, and it's like, all right, I'm okay with this, actually.
There's a huge scout. He did get a second Marine before the reactor, so that is a slight change from what we usually see. But overall, this is a great start, right? He has full information. He even knows the speed timing. He knows that speed hasn't started yet. No Roach Warren going down. This is absolutely brilliant.
I like that you point out the second Marine, because it's nice to have your Reaper out on the map, but 2 Marines will absolutely deal with anything that comes at you. So that was a very, very safe play by Clem. Does start off his Hellion production, but it's just one at a time, because that did delay his reactor. And maybe if that's what Reynor was hoping for to get out of all of this, the trade-off ain't so bad, actually.
Yeah, one less Hellion, of course, that Marine with those 18 seconds delaying that reactor. It's the same timing as the Hellion takes to build. So that first round of Hellions will only be a single one. And especially because this is a 2-gas opener, you do want these Hellions as quick as possible. So it's a very good point you raised there. Starport's going down quickly as well. I mean, on a map like Berlingrad, we're kind of expecting 2-gas Banshee, right?
I was until, okay, he was producing a Marine, and then it was like, okay, cancelling, getting out the tech lab. For a second there, I was like, oh my goodness, is he going for a Armory and what have you? But no, we'll go for the Viking. What is this build bad against? It's very bad against any sort of roach pressure. Like, you find yourself in a horrible position. But going for the 2-gas and then the Viking, it's a respectful play. He wants to clear up the Overlords. Maybe, you know, Reynor did post a picture on his Twitter recently of his Overlord placement. Clem just wanted to get rid of that.
Yeah, I do like that. Do you think we're going to go into a larger heli count, let's say 8, and maybe a second starport unit, or we'll stick with 6 Hellions and get that single Viking, and that will be it?
Right, so in my brain, and I play at a slow pace these days, Kevin, I'm like, all right, Viking into Liberator, about 7 Hellions is a good number, but we'll see what he goes with, because very often these guys, when they are so quick, it's like, all right, now I'm going to get a medevac, do a drop in the main and what have you. But his build has definitely been thrown off a smidge here, right? Having to go for that second Marine early and doing what he's doing. So he's going to stop at, I think, 5 Hellions, if I'm correct, which... Yep. That isn't a number that's super scary for Reynor. This is going to allow his creep spread to get pretty damn out of control very, very quickly. Yeah, definitely. And Reynor should be great at this. He's been practicing mainly Archon games, actually, against a bunch of Americans on his Discord. I'm not messing with you, Ben. I'm not pulling your leg here. He's been playing against 4 or 5 people at the same time, because 5 Americans equals about 1 Clem. And he said that it's good practice. They're quite good with the Hellions, you know, and he got a lot faster, is what he told me. And his creep spread is looking fabulous so far. So, yeah. Is that a currency exchange? 5 Americans for 1 Clem? I'm thinking 8 Americans for 1 Clem, honestly, but we'll see how it pays off. I mean, that creep spread is getting wild. In the Viking, yeah, it deals with some Overlords. It clears up some of that airspace for drops later on. But so far, I'd say Reynor's looking quite good. Gets all the scouting information, gets to see that 3rd CC at the wall as well, so he knows he's not behind economically. And as long as he doesn't take any damage from anything that Clem's going to ready up pretty soon, he should be okay. This Viking taking a few extra hits, it's actually going to go down, and already That's a nice little victory for Reynor. So now these overlords at the top of the map, you see at 12 o'clock, it can stay there very safely and you start moving them out a little bit in all these dead air spaces.
Yeah, that's actually kind of big because that makes drops a lot harder. It also is just nice to have the Viking to spot any potential run-bys, of course. It's a free scout of one lane at least on this map. And God knows that this map has lots of lanes where the Zerglings can counter-attack on. So being able to cut one off is already great. I love this Ling run-by as well here. Just checking if you can pick off any SCVs, of course, quick on that control. Tank shells once and Reynor says, I'm out of here.
Okay,
Did you scan?
He scanned on his tech lab, which means that you've slightly misclicked the tech lab where he wanted to get combat shield, given they're on the same hotkey. Yeah. Very unfortunate, but maybe the nerves getting the better of Clem, just a smidge there. But isn't the end of the world. 5 Hellions and a group of Marines. This is where he can start to get a little bit of control, and this is where Reynor really has to test his muscle here. Ooh, a few queens being caught out. That is not what you want if you're the fan of the Italian.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want. Second queen will also go down. These creep tumors will get taken out. The creep tumor on the edge still in scan range somehow magically. And losing these queens, losing these tumors, it's a good start for Clem.
Yeah, it really is. Despite that scan being obviously wasted, resources loss-wise, I think it's definitely going to be looking a little bit better for Clem. Yes, it is. And that creep spread being thwarted in the middle, that's a good place to stop it, because cutting the head off the Hydra, definitely what you want to be doing with these creep tumors, because if left uncontested, they go out of control.
Yeah, Clem is doing a fantastic job, kind of playing around these ramps, just poking down and doesn't want to engage on creep here. Of course, we see a quick pickup. Will lose all of his helmets, which means that in the future, run-bys are a definite possibility for Reynor. So these bad boys won't be able to stay at them. Oh my god, that target fire was absolutely beautiful. Takes out 3-4 banelings there, and then the quick pickup. I shouldn't be surprised, Ben, but every single time I still am.
Clem says, welcome to land, baby. And they're taking out quite a few of the units. And right now he does have a 1-1 advantage, but you can see the tempo that he's kind of bringing to Reynor. Reynor gladly meeting him at this pace as well. So right now, what is Reynor doing? He's trying to get up to Hydras, but he is under a lot of pressure.
This is a significant supply block out of Reynor. He needed to start 3 Overlords while he was supply blocked. He had 137 out of 136. He's floating a decent amount of money as well. What's the larva count at currently? Oh, he has almost no larva. He's actually he's in a little bit of trouble with spending the money here, Ben.
Yeah, when you need all your queens to defend and spread that creep, and losing those few queens earlier, it's definitely paying off. Even though it looks like he might be getting met by these queens constantly, not dealing that much, every little bit helps.
Yeah, seems like Reynor so far doing a good enough job though. 86 workers already out. Probably wants to start working towards a 5th base and those lurkers. So it's possible, of course, he stays on that Hydra Bane a bit longer. I do believe we already have 8 gases though here for the Zerg player. That's really quick for 8 gas.
It certainly is. Like, Reynor, his economy hasn't gone touch. I don't think a single drone has gone down this game, right? And Clem's trying to get a few Baneling picks here and there. But Reynor's got a very good spread of units. And getting a lot of Hydras out is very, very handy. Obviously going to be a bit behind in upgrades, but Banelings don't mind about that, and the Hydras will still put up a pretty damn good fight without those attack upgrades.
Yeah, that's definitely true. To be fair to Clem here, he has played a very tank-heavy style, and tanks do not support these drops whatsoever until you make one big push out. So usually we expect a bit more damage out of Clem if he opens up with more mines, but because it has been pure tanks, it would be weird if Clem would have killed the base here, right? Oh,
it would have been really weird. Also, kind of different from Clem, because for a long time when he was beating all these Zergs, he was opening up the Widow Mines, but maybe... Oh, this was a nice little catch from Reynor. Does pick off one of the medevacs, but all the Marines do escape. But yeah, to go back to the Widow Mines, maybe he felt like, oh, that is a susceptibility in my play, because a lot of the Korean Zergs, when they played him, they just roach all into him, and it was like, well, can't do much against that with these Widow Mines that I have.
Yeah, even if they do stay invisible with the armory, you have one shot and then the Overseer shows up anyway. Oh, Clem's gonna get caught out of position a little bit here. Tank in the back, still dealing a lot of damage. Good splits, obviously. That tank stays alive, is big. Reynor turns around to still grab that kill. And two tanks going down, but not the worst trade for Clem either.
All things said and done, this is kind of when Clem wants to be fighting. He just finished his 2-2 and he's against 1-1 right now. A little bit of an anti-timing for Reynor. Granted, this did give him a lot of space to ready that creep, and yet again, which is the big deal. I was speaking to him earlier and he's like, it's all about the creep spread, man. It's all about the creep.
Yeah, do you think he's gonna go into Vipers first or straight into those lurkers?
Solar earlier in the tournament was going straight into the Vipers as soon as he hit Hive, no matter what, but Reynor, he's a boy that loves his lurkers, and look at that gas bank. I mean, I would love to see some Vipers, But yeah, readying the seismic sight. Oh, 4 Vipers. That shows a lot of maturity in his play.
Yeah, this is kind of wild, honestly. I think he wants to keep trading with those tanks and then eventually transition into them lurkers. We already have +2 vehicle weapons on the way for Clem here. This drop is going to get cleaned up. Clem needs to be really careful. Of course, these Vipers deal very well with this type of drop play. This base is completely undefended, or well, completely undefended. A couple of Hydras will show up. Some workers do end up going down that drop. Well, struggling with the pickup there. Only ends up getting 6 Marines in. But with the Vipers out, that should get cleaned up as well. And then Reynor perhaps has an opportunity to start moving across the map.
Yeah, but time is of the essence here because those lurkers are going to get online very quickly. And when you're Reynor, when it's this big of a map with this many bases, look how much he's expanding. This isn't the kind of game where it's going to get down to, oh, we're going to split map it. At least I don't think so. And with that kind of economy available, Clem's going to be in a lot of trouble very, very soon.
Yeah, this creep threat is ridiculous, by the way. Holy crap. Let's not forget how well Clem actually tried to deny the creep threat. Like, he's not been sitting back. He's constantly been pushing on 2-3 sides at the same time. And it feels like the creep just doesn't retract whatsoever. Just new tumors get built and he keeps going. This is a powerful run by. This is more than a run by. This is an attack.
It's a fully fledged army. Yeah. And it's not his only army. Like, Reynor's rich as hell in this game. And how many creep tumors have died this game? So I just want to emphasize how good. I mean, that's quite a lot of creep tumors, a good 60 or so, but this, Reynor's ready, he's got Vipers in the mix as well. Blinding Clouds going down in the back there. The Banelings running in as well. Clem doing everything that he can. The SV count hasn't fell too far just yet, but the Lurkers, they're getting in there. But Clem in the same time, pushing in the north. This is getting chaotic very, very quickly.
Yeah, a couple of drones will fall here. This base most likely will get taken out. Lurkers start making their way back home as another drone line gets evacuated here. This hatchery will get targeted down. And Clem actually only losing 9 SCVs in this trade. I'm surprised. I thought he was going to lose way more there.
Yeah, I mean, he lost a few tanks as well, but he is also safely transitioning to Ghost. Bought a lot of time with that 12 o'clock attack, but he has to get out of there. Few tanks are sacrificed. These Vipers coming in very handy for making sure that those medevacs don't escape. Luckily for Clem, it was the medevacs without units in. A little bit of misfortune for Reynor.
Yeah, this is an ambitious 5th timing, by the way. That command center needs to get back to that 4th and hope that the Hydras don't kill it quickly enough, as these Hydras do have +1 already on them. Clem is coming in here with a rescue mission. We'll save this command center and the game will continue on for now, but those were scary moments for Clem.
They were. I love the fact they used the snipes and the Hydras, by the way, just to make sure that they weren't going to snipe down that command center too quickly, which is a nice move. But Reynor, his economy still pretty darn good. Bank is going to start matching up, but the upgrades are coming very much online now for him. +3 carapace. He's going to match Clem at this moment in time. The tank count, he's been doing a good job of keeping that tank count real darn low, and much thanks to these Vipers that he's kept alive as well.
Yeah, sensor tower on the right side will of course spot this army coming in. Still, Clem wasn't completely ready with the Ghost. At least a couple of snipes. I think 1 Viper went down. Lurker falling as well. As this 5th command center is going to try a different base to land at. There's not that many orbitals though yet, Ben. Very often we see Terrans with a higher orbital count before they take their 5th base, going up to 5 or at least 6.
Well, that's because we've been watching a lot of Spirit over the past few days, you know. But yeah, you're totally right. Orbitals are the most, what's the word, reliable source of getting info, getting that vision going for those burrowed lurkers, because those Ravens, they're not going to last long against this number of Vipers. Clem really going ham on the upgrades, by the way. Like, +3 on tanks is going to be ready, and he's pretty content with just being like, all right, let's go back, let's take the bottom side base, whereas Reynor, mate, he's got everything, and going for double Nidus here as well. That's when the game gets super damn difficult if you're a Terran.
Yeah, if this planetary finishes up though, Ben, I think Clem kind of stabilizes, at least at this point, and then in the future he might try to get that bottom left side base as the 6th. I really do like this base positioning. It gives him a good angle to kind of push out with these small bio forces and at the same time stay defensive with the Ghost tank.
You're absolutely right. I do feel that Clem is getting himself into a better and better position as time goes by. This Ghost count, I'm looking at it, very healthy. 12 on the map. He's also split them up a little bit. Like when he needs to fight in the north, he fights in the north. When he fights in the south, he's also got a squad there. And Reynor, you can feel that he wants to bounce around, and these turrets, a little bit late, but maybe that is a little bit of a giveaway as to what Reynor's next plan is.
Yeah, I think Clem needs to start. Oh, there's already a tank there. Beautiful stuff here out of Clem. There is 2 Nidus networks though. That second one could be placed right next to the tank. At the same time, Reynor is moving in. These ghosts are gonna get blinding clouded. Good abducts on that tank as well. 2 tanks will end up falling, but the ghosts turn around and start sniping. Is there still something happening in the main base? No, just the overseer. I think Clem still needs to clean that up at some point though. 2 more Nidus networks are going down in the main base currently. But ghosts do pop out and the tank will help as well. Perhaps these SCVs could join in on the fight as well. Take out that Nidus.
It's getting mighty close, mighty close. Okay, there are more ghosts. Reynor's definitely trading sort of inefficiently here, isn't he? But I love the fact that he knows when to pull back. Because maybe he could have killed that base, but he wants to ready up, get all those Banelings in, because they really do help a lot for just providing a meat shield of splash for his army.
Yeah, and Reynor's just looking to break Clem here on Berlingrad. Look at that lurker movement, getting that tank on the low ground, knowing the range absolutely perfectly. 12 more Banes on the way. I think Reynor's going for a bust, Ben.
I think he might be, but does he need to? I mean, maybe his game plan should be to deny a 6th base, given that I don't know how many he's even on. Good 7 or 8 at this point, but he's playing real damn good, Kev. Real damn good, and he's going to go for it here. Nice blinding clouds on top of the tanks. The ghosts aren't here yet, so caught Clem a little bit out of position. His army's definitely slower, but utilizing that creep that's all the way across the map here. He can meander and move like crazy, and these Banelings keeping those ghosts at bay. Beautiful use of those Banes.
This was an absolutely fantastic fight here for Reynor. Kills that planetary. The orbital will now most likely take its place, but of course not as much of an anchor for Clem to fall back on that orbital. A couple of queens will fall in the retreat. They fought valiantly in the fight, but will bite the dust here. Yeah, this orbital is already fairly damaged as well. A couple of upgrades are about to finish up here for Reynor, and Clem at 162 supply, having trouble maxing out.
Yes, these Vipers, they've been doing such a good job of just penetrating the defenses, getting rid of those tanks, which have been getting made 3 at a time, and drones stand next to a CC over there, and I see a lot of blue marching across that side of the map. I mean, Reynor's army moves so much faster with this creep spread, so it's so hard for Clem to defend on both sides, even though his bases are a lot closer together, and you see that Reynor's just suffocating Clem.
Yeah, it absolutely is. No planetary here, as mentioned before. Lurkers moving in, Banelings trying to connect with Marines, but there's no Marines here whatsoever. The bunch on the bottom side. Ghost will try to clean up this single lurker, but I feel like the right side is where Reynor's real army is, and that's what the real problem might just be. These Hydras could start working on this orbital command. Banelings connect with a lot of the bio. Clem supply is absolutely plummeting, Ben.
Yeah, Reynor wants him out of this game, and he's just doing nothing but non-stop units. I don't know how much lava he has available, but he's got a bank. And yeah, I think he's just been spending it all like absolutely crazy, going for a lot of hatcheries. These queens, maybe they want to get back home and just inject everything, because the next wave, that's where I'm really worrying for Clem in this game.
I wouldn't have minded if Clem would have waited with this left side base for a bit longer. I think he's spreading himself a bit too thin in a phase of the game where he can't afford to spread himself thin. He's having trouble with 5 bases. Why go up to 6 at this point? I guess he isn't even mining out that much yet, right? He still has a solid amount of patches at least still.
He definitely does, and maybe it would have called for just sitting back a little bit, getting quite a few command centers, spirit style, you know, orbitals and whatnot, but every time he tries to do something, he's just met by a lot of the Italian moving in with a bunch of lurkers here. Oh my golly, that is a bunch of Zerg, and Reynor, he's feeling it, man. He's playing fast, he's playing quick, starting off the day with a win against Zaun and going up against Clem on Berlingrad, the better Terran map, and he knocks him out of this game, and he bounces his head, and rightly so. He played beautiful.
Yeah, he played a fantastic game of ZVT here, and honestly, we've seen this a lot before today and in this tournament where the wrong race wins the map. Yeah. Because Berlingrad is a good Terran map, and seeing Reynor win that is a bit of a surprise to me, because the Zergs have been vocal about how bad some of these maps are now. I know to never trust a Zerg, Ben. In my 12-year-long career, I have learned that, but still, it felt like Berlingrad should be pretty good for Terran here, and Reynor, he didn't make it look easy necessarily, because it looked kind of difficult. I mean, beating Clem never is easy, but he looked good. He looked very, very good.
He had to play really fast to keep up with Clem early on, but he did that. He played just as fast as him. And then once he survived to a good state, like the build order, we were questioning it, but it kind of all lined up very well. And I don't know whether Clem was like, oh, this is a bit offbeat or off-tempo. Maybe it freaked him out a little bit, but those little twinges and tweaks in the build, having a Viking, then nothing after it, he couldn't stop the economy of Reynor. Like, he didn't slow him down in any way. By the way, I like what you said about the Zergs. I've been saying they've had false propaganda for a long time. I remember I played back in the day, Kev. Broodlord Infested, they all said it was fine, and then as soon as it got nerfed, they're like, oh yeah, it was really broken, actually.
Back when I played.
Back when I played, when I was young.
No, look at Reynor, man. He's jamming out over here. That's the Italian rap right there. Actually, recently he's been listening to some Eminem as well.
Ah, that is better music.
Yeah.
This is what's getting him going. Now he's found life, you know. But raise your baguette for Clem. I mean, we've got a lot of fans out there in the audience, and rightly so. These guys, they're some of the best at this matchup. Like Reynor, I know we talk a lot about Clem's TVZ, but Reynor's ZVT. He's one of the few Zergs that's gone up against the likes of Marus and such and given them a real damn hard time, even beating him in one of the season finals. And yeah, he's looking absolutely fresh. He was a little bit of a question mark for me, not because I think Reynor's bad, because I think he's really damn good and I think he has a lot of potential. But it has been a long time for these boys since they've been on the stage. But so far, he's just showing nothing but greatness.
Yeah, he really is. Well, actually, that first series he showed was a little bit...
a bit rocky.
Yeah, a bit rocky.
Caster hype, you know.
Nothing but greatness, Ben, as in the bottom left, spawning as the Red Terran player playing for Team Liquid. It is Clem.
And on the very good Zerg map, there's no dispute over that, by the way, not Terran bias. Spawning in the top right, it is Clash's Reynor. Hardwire. I mean, I did speak to Reynor a little bit, and it was when Spirit was beating Solar and stuff, and I was like, oh wow, Spirit played so good. Like, he got to the stage and Solar couldn't break him. And he was like, yeah, Hardwire is an unbreakable bat, man. And I was like, Reynor, you're ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous. But what do you like? You used to be Clem's teammate. If he was in this situation, would you have left him to it? Usually, and just been like, he knows what he's doing, absolutely. Or would you have been like, it's all right, Reynor, you should maybe do this and that?
I would not speak to Clem when he's in the zone. He's in the zone, like especially outside of my expertise, right? I would not ever interfere in a TVZ that he would be playing. But yeah, he knows what to do, right? It's just this matchup is so mechanical right now that I think he knows what went wrong. He just was a little bit too slow, perhaps, in the early game, or didn't take the right trades. We might actually see some more of that Widow Mine style. Reynor is one of the players that almost never plays roaches. I wouldn't mind if Clem decides to just go for some quicker mines.
That is the moment where you do it right, and it's like, oh no, it's going to happen, isn't it? But we do have a Marine opening for Clem here. The factory is placed a little bit further away, which is a little bit unusual for me, because most of the time you want to go for the switch, right? But here, not going to... Well, maybe he will do that at some point. Maybe it's nice to have it a little bit back so it's harder to scout if a little Zergling does run up the ramp and whatnot. But yeah, different openings for both of them. Reynor going for the very, very standard hatch gas pool, whereas Clem, yeah, the Marine opening. Definitely a little bit tricky here.
He's going to want to dive with the Hellions then, most likely, right? If you want those quicker Hellions out. Is that necessarily what you want to do? Because this does get the Hellions, what is it, like 18 or 15 seconds faster or so?
The thing is, most of the time that you go for a build like this, you want a lot of Marines. And it can be because you want to do like a 7 Marine drop with 3 Hellions and stuff. But not seeing the Reaper gives that away a lot. And these Zergs these days, I'm going to give them a little bit of credit here, Harston. They are quite smart. So not seeing a Reaper immediately does already make you start thinking, all right, what are they using that barracks for? Well, it's got to be either getting out very fast Hellions, which without a Reaper, you don't have that nice buffer, that nice meat shield where Hellions can stay on the map because the Reaper regenerates, obviously. So most of the time, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a lot of Marines.
Yeah, it is interesting. So we might see something like a build that we've seen in the past, like a 7 Marine drop and then a 3 Hellion run by. I guess that is something that we could be seeing here. Those 2 Hellions are already out. I guess that's not the most wild call that I've made in my life.
Very smart, very smart. Don't worry, we've all been there. I will not tell you the amount of times that Rotterdam said something proper dumb, but like... Anyway, we've got a big match on our hands. So it will be a nice scout here, by the way. This Overlord coming in from a bit of a funny position, but I'm actually a little surprised at the amount of Marines. There wasn't like just one to the north of the base here, but does dive deep enough to find out exactly what is happening here. And given that he saw that amount of Marines, but also not the switch yet with the factory on the reactor, he absolutely 100% knows that it's not a Hellbat all-in. Like, it cannot be at this point in time. So Reynor will inevitably know exactly what he's up against.
Yeah, we see that Tech Lab go down on the barracks, a Liberator on the way as well as a follow-up. And those Marines will kind of function as a Viking in a way, where they want to remove a lot of the Overlord vision. And of course, they also want to deal some damage. Ideally, kill a Queen or 3-4 workers. That tends to be kind of difficult, though. So I think Clem will just have to be happy with taking out an Overlord, perhaps.
Yeah, I like the idea for Clem. Like, he wanted to put a few Marines on that low ledge, maybe get a few on the high ground, but Reynor was very quick to get there, and he's like, well, if you stay here, I'm just going to be wounding that medevac with my Queen. So nice response from Reynor, and that's what we talked about, right? Knowledge is power.
Yeah, definitely. 5 Hellions are out on the map now. Clem not completely paying attention. He's tanking a lot of damage on that one Hellion. Not going to be too happy with that if he wants to use those later on. Left side is still occupied by that one Overlord. Look at that, he's going to spot the Liberator straight away. Very good Overlord spread here out of Reynor. Not being afraid pulling them back too quickly. Medevac does find a drop location though.
Oh, moving past 3 Queens and a Spore, and you saw the little tweak of Clem's head there. That is not a healthy Liberator, and doing anything with that, that's going to be ridiculously hard. Already a very rough start here for Clem, and I think it died. Yeah, Queen with 1 kill. That was not the best investment.
This is a 366 drone, isn't it, here for Reynor? We'll get the fourth base as well, and Medevac is taking a lot of damage. Clem playing a little bit sloppy here on Hardwire.
We definitely saw a few of the nerves in the first game with the scan on the Tech Lab instead of the combat shield, which, you know, maybe Clem's the one feeling the nerves. His reign of dominance has been a lot of online play, but, you know, I don't want to count him out just yet because he is an absolute phenomenal player, and there were definitely flashes of brilliance of Baneling sniping in that first game, and honestly, he played really damn well, but Reynor's just looking big and powerful.
I'm so afraid for this medevac. It's like 3-4 hits away from dying. These Marines will take out 1 Ling and get picked up here. Will move back, but this medevac doesn't have a very long life ahead of it if it's going to stay so aggressive right now. Third base is going to fly over before it morphs into an orbital. Stim finishes up and combat shield immediately starts. Clem wants to get this fourth base cancelled, but I don't think he can.
No, me neither. The Queens will get there in time, and the fact that that medevac is so low, oh my goodness, he's really playing with fire to try and keep every Marine alive he can. I guess one good thing for him is 1-1 is a little bit quicker than Reynor, but so far it's just turning into a game where we look at that creep spread, and it's 6 minute 30 and it's already reached the halfway point. And this is quite a long map as well. That's also one of the reasons why it's quite difficult for Terrans, because trying to deal damage is tricky. Given that this map is so long, but these Marines, the ones from home and the ones on the map, will join forces, and maybe these 2 Queens will get taken out here.
Yeah, we'll manage to snipe that 1 low medevac. A bit of a deja vu here, as in the first game also 2 Queens kind of ended up dying for free. This time at least they get a medevac. Marines will get picked up, as one of those Marines will get Kerrigan behind. And we see these 2 medevacs move straight away. Oh, actually going to the fourth base. I love this move, kind of trying to fake into the main Hellions at the same time here at the third base. Might get a couple of decent shots off here.
Yeah, definitely. These Hellions, I mean, they're met uncontested except by the Queens, but it seemed like it was just enough. A few of these Evo blocks were very good, especially the first one. The second one, not sure exactly what it was doing, but lots of drones are being pumped out by Reynor, so that means that he's feeling fresh, he's feeling good to go. He shut down a lot of these drops, a lot of the pressure, and losing those Hellions means that those run-bys can start dealing damage later on.
86 workers already here for Reynor. How is this possible? It feels like Clem has been poking and prodding this entire time, but not been putting out the damage and not threatening enough, I guess, as Reynor is basically at the drone count he wants to be in the end game.
This is a massive game for both of these. This could mean that Clem's 0-2 in the group, and granted it is 2 of the hardest opponents he could face straight away, Maru, then Reynor. But if Reynor starts off with a victory against Clem, which, you know, it's been a little bit of his Achilles heel in the past, that'd be massive for the Italian.
Yeah, once again, same move here out of Clem, picking up at that right side location at 3 o'clock and trying to drop into the fourth base. This time Reynor is ready for it. 2 Marines working on this Overlord. Oh, a couple of the friends join in as well and will snipe it. Another scan on this left side. The creep on that left side isn't brilliant. 2 Banelings do get sniped down. 5th base immediately gets dropped as well. The one advantage that Clem still has is that he has a slight upgrade lead.
Oh my god, the Queen from downtown.
Oh my god.
Wow, oh wow. This is... Reynor's playing really good, man. Like, everything that he's doing is just like, what if it... And it's like, no what ifs. Reynor's just playing real damn fast and good.
Yeah, Clem also looking a bit annoyed on the cam a couple of times already. Every single time a medevac gets picked off and he makes a small error. So he's definitely not too happy with his play currently, or at least how this game is going so far. extra barracks on the way already. That forward base is flying over, of course, as Reynor once again is going to be preparing for some type of push of this very high drone count.
104 drones, and he's not taken any damage whatsoever this game. Like, all the little bits of damage have been little tickles for the most part, whereas, oh my goodness, Clem's actually lost more resources in a TVZ. And I mean, Clem's been playing fast and good, but Reynor's just, he's been making very few mistakes, and yeah, just solid play. And again, oh my goodness. Every time that something like this happens and the tempo's reset and Reynor just holds on pretty strong, that creep spread just keeps on moving, and that just allows Reynor so much freedom.
Yeah, and that's really setting him up for that eventual push that we saw in game number 1 as well in Berlingrad, once those lurkers finally come around. As Reynor's just looking for fights at this point. I mean, why not? He's maxed, he has a huge bank, he wants to keep Clem off the map, he wants to push him back. Vipers once again coming out first. Man, Reynor looks absolutely unbeatable at this point. He is so fast.
Yeah, this is starting to make me get excited for the future games that we have in this group, because we have a lot of ZVT and a lot of Reynor to watch. But again, another dropship, gun down, and yet another one. Everywhere we look, it's just Reynor winning fight after fight, and Kevin, it's not going to get any easier for Clem. Moving up to Hive Tech here. In fact, he's already made it. Seismic Spines very close to being done. 2-2 finishing up as well, so he's going to equal him on upgrades. And Clem's army, Clem's eco is good, but everything's looking very dire for the Frenchman.
Yeah, he's getting into a late game, but he's not getting in a late game with a great position. I'm not even sure if he's allowed to take his 5th base at this point yet, because the creep is practically at his 5th base. The upgrades for Reynor are brilliant. Adaptive Talons on the way, so soon these lurkers will burrow quickly as well. The 2 Vipers are out and could start working on any idle medevacs in that space. And at that point, once again, Reynor's just going to start gearing up for push after push after push, with his huge bank. Look at the minerals! 6k minerals in the bank, 1.5k gas. This is not normal.
It's absolutely not. Like, at this point, you can just start taking random hatcheries around the map just to say, like, hey, that's my base. Just put the creep there, put the ability for Clem to have to take down real exterior bases, meaning the ones behind it are very safe too. But very soon, given the way Zerg works with getting all that larvae available, I'm scared for Clem, man. Real damn scared. And right now, Reynor can afford to lose quite a lot of units, because he's just going to remax on the very valuable units, such as lurkers and more Vipers, maybe. We saw how good they were for him in game 1.
Yeah. The sick thing is that he is super disciplined as well with his fight still. Even though he has, what, 8k minerals in the bank, he almost never fights off creep. Like, he moves off creep to pick off a unit and then goes straight back onto creep. He wants to be efficient and he wants to be rich at the same time. He's the perfect man.
The perfect man, indeed he is. It shows a lot of maturity, right? Because a lot of Zergs, or a lot of players in general, get very carried away, but he's absolutely not. And the fact that he's done what he's done and established this kind of position, that is ridiculously hard to do. Clem trying to fire over the rocks here, which went kind of okay. By the way, 9k bank now, 2k. This man is rich as hell.
It's 11k resources. 12 minutes into the game, the entire map is spreading creep. I don't even manage to do this against the easy AI.
No, I tried to do that max out, you know, like the fastest you can against nothing, and it was like, mate, I can do that in like 12 minutes, but no, here he is. Lots of EMPs going down. I love the fact that he did that to the Vipers. That is a huge deal, actually. Great play out of Clem there. That saves this stronghold very, very nicely.
Yeah, and Clem is way better prepared, way better set up than last game as well. The defense is strong. Double Nidus network already on the way, though. There's a couple of turrets in the main base, and I hope there's a tank there as well. Look at this Overseer, the Kamikaze pilot. Oh, will not quite make it into the main base. There's another Overseer heading towards the main, though, as Reynor once again gearing up for those Nidus. There's no tank around this time, but the networks were not quite done yet, and thus not a single worm went down.
You know, Clem's starting to give me a lot of hope. Like, this has all felt very bleak for him over the last 5 minutes or over the course of the game, but all of a sudden, the fact that he's defended that first attack in the way that he did, which was EMP snipe on those Vipers, it really shows to me that he realizes the true strength of Reynor's style here, and he's like, all right, I know how to do it, but now I'm showing that I can do it, because maybe he knew it in the first game too, but just wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, and it also shows a bit of maturity out of Clem here, that he isn't just attacking onto the creep and wanting to be aggressive. Perhaps a year ago, he was known as the guy that always had to attack. But these days, he can play a fine late game for sure, Ben. And I think that's what we're going to be seeing as these medevacs are going to get taken out. I don't even mind it too much, because you want to replace some of that bio 4 tanks and more Ghost. What else does Clem really want to get? Does he want to add a couple of mines in this mix? Some lips, perhaps? A Viking here and there to snipe Vipers, or is this a fine comp?
I think this is a good comp. Like, maybe eventually you want to get a few Liberators in the mix, but these tanks and Ghosts, this is pretty much end game for Terran. Like, you want a few PFs around, lots of turrets around as well, so these Vipers, every time they want to do something, they really have to suicide kind of thing. But Reynor's doing a good job here. He's like, okay, you're on 5 bases, but I want to stop you from getting the 6 base setup. I think Hardwire is also a pretty decent map for trying to get the split off, because right now, if Clem focuses all his attention on spreading up this right corner, then it could be a total split map situation, which is very hard to do, I feel.
Yeah, definitely true. Look at Reynor taking both of the middle bases, by the way. He's already mining from them as well. He's a lot of drones there. This is an absolutely brilliant play. Look at that, 10 workers here taking both gases as well. And these are the bases. Well, at least one of them kind of has to belong to Clem, right, at some point?
You'd imagine so. You definitely would. So the fact that he's absorbing resources from both of them, especially the gas, very quickly, yeah, you're right. It's a really good play. You can see that Clem's trying to hunker down here in this right corner. So this is where we're going to see a lot of fights take place. The Blinding Clouds coming in there on top of 3 tanks, and the Banelings rolling, and that is a lot of Banes. And removed all the AoE in this army, means these Banelings have a field day.
Yeah, there's still 2 tanks in the back, but that planetary will get taken out. Of course, not the most efficient trade for Reynor, but he doesn't care because he has these middle bases. I wouldn't even mind if Clem takes the more forward base here on the right side, rather than going for that back base and gets a planetary up there. I've seen that happen in the past, and I really do like that. You can kind of control the choke there.
You might be absolutely right. Obviously, he then has to worry constantly about this left side, but he's doing a good job of defending both of them. And these tanks on the high ground, I love this as well. And Reynor is... This is when you can start to feel a little impatient, right? Because it's like, I can't break him, but I don't want him to get more powerful because I'm reaching super ultimate late game here. And maybe he can go into Broodlords as well to make this even harder, but he's already got the counter with Ghost there, and yeah, this is a real good TVZ.
Yeah, this is very exciting. Once again, a big rotation out of Reynor. Kill the planetary on the right side, says. Now let's try this orbital on the left. Lots of overseers flying in, snipes going down as well. The Vipers do their job. Pull off one abduct from one of them tanks. Another tank gets pulled forward. As an overseer managed to make it into the main base. We might see some Nidus networks go down.
Holy crap, that was a lot of pew-pew. That was his whole army evaporating, along with all the overseers. Needs to reproduce all those overlords. What's the resources lost tab at right now? Because it feels like, all right. So Clem is trading decently. We got to remember it didn't start off decently for him. So definitely a little bit of swaying. But all these ghosts, he's using them super damn well. But Nidus is starting to come into the main now.
Yeah, and this might be an issue if there's not enough to take these Nidus out. What is in the Nidus network on the other side, though, Ben? That's the real question, of course. What is going to pop out? Well, actually, I hope for these units in there that nothing comes out, because you're not going to live too long as both networks get taken out. Reynor sends in a bunch of links, but tanks are in position. There's a mine as well over here, and I think Clem is absolutely fine in this defense. His SCV count is a lot lower than before. It might just be fine, however, though. He gets a bigger army out of this. Does he have sufficient orbitals?
I'm not sure at this point. Like, you can always have extra, right? So,
4.
Yeah, that's definitely a low number, especially for this amount of creep that's knocking on your front door. But holy crap, that is a ghost blob and a half. I wonder if his army is actually worth more value than Reynor's at this point, because he's got a bigger supply, and wow, that's a way bigger, costly army.
Yeah, these trades need to go very well for him, though, because he doesn't have much of a bank right side once again. Reynor here with the assault. Tank will get taken out. These high ground tanks are helping out so much here from the balcony. Oh my, look at his ghost. That is 27 ghosts all coming in for snipes, and this army needs to run. It needs to run for its life. Banelings get sniped before they take out a player. That was huge. That was really, really big.
That was massive, because Clem couldn't afford to lose that, really. That is a lot of freaking Banelings, and just seeing them there. Oh, they're all like, okay, we've been revealed, and they're going to get sniped down, and they are damn costly units. Wow, Infestors? Burrowed Infestors? I haven't seen this in a while in this kind of situation, but that could really shut down this ghost play.
Yeah, I love this low ground nuke as well. Trying to deny that base, as it's such an important base. That's the base that Clem eventually wants to take and needs to take, to be quite honest. The hatchery is going to get taken out by this nuke?
Nah, they'll survive a little bit.
Oh.
You know, nukes, surprisingly, not the greatest, Kev. Not the greatest.
Not the greatest.
They need a massive buff. No. I mean, eventually he is going to be focused on taking that out. But look what he's doing here. I love this by him, trying to get the forward turrets as well. Oh, those Infestors. James Bond Infestors right there.
They're looking for an EMP, right? Yeah. Oh no, Fungals instead, going to catch a lot of this army. Banelings moving forward as well. We'll catch a couple of ghosts, but honestly, not the fight that I thought it would be. These tanks on the high ground are so sick. These two tanks have helped so much in these fights. I actually wonder how many kills these bad boys have.
24 and 55. Holy crap. When we talk about, when we talk about MVPs, they are absolutely them. Clem's bank is reset quite a bit, but oh boy, those tanks.
There's got to be like banelings and lurkers in there. It's not pure Ling. Like, there's an expensive army that died against that one tank. Holy moly, that's insane. Reynor's actually becoming a little less cost efficient, it feels like, over these past 2-3 minutes. And Clem is pushing forward towards that right side. Yeah, resources lost. It was an 8k difference right now. Of course, it's not enough yet, because Reynor has been mining from 2 extra bases. And that's a lot of resources that he's taking there.
That's the thing, right? Like, as time moves on and Clem clears up this far left base, technically as third, right, which doesn't have a lot of resources left, then he can focus all his... Oh, that was a huge baneling hit, or rather Widowmine hit on these banelings, and holy crap, that's a lot of banelings. Reynor does have to be sort of careful, even though I think all of this chaos is good for him, because he is so rich. He does have to be careful, because these units aren't cheap, but that's a lot of ghosts getting caught out. And Clem, his supply just plummeted here. There's tanks on the high ground, and yet again, but these lurkers, these units, all these trades were actually okay for Reynor.
Yeah, Clem blinked for a second too long, and all of his ghosts disappear. His tanks fall, and now all of a sudden Reynor is knocking on his natural's door. The lurkers are moving forward. There's still a couple of tanks he might be able to hold, but this was an absolutely brilliant trade here for Reynor.
Oh, it certainly was. These tanks getting picked off as well. MVP tanks here in this game on high ground, but Clem, he can't afford it. And GG, Reynor takes out one of his European rivals here, and you can see the happiness and joy